choose the provider in here. Before we have Nano Banana, Nano Banana Pro, and right now we have Nano Banana 2. So this model having very fantastic result. So I would going through like what is the comparison between Nano Banana 2 and Pro. But in short, the Nano Banana 2 is having higher like accuracy on the image and prompt following, with the price is kind of cheaper than the Pro. So if you are mass creating a lot of like image with Nano Banana Pro, I think this is something that you can really switch on. I will show you some of the example that I just created before today. So for example, like this one. So this one is I was asking the agent that saying high quality photography of DIY infographic that simply explain how water cycle work. So this is the result. So let me open that in a new tab so that you can also have a look. So as you can see here, that is quite nice, right? So this is like the water cycle, how it works, infographic, and this one actually can it's quite big. So you can see full screen and there's no blurry, because actually this model is allowing us to choose up to 4K of the output of the image, where the price is like sliding in the half comparing to Nano Banana Pro. So what we are going to talk about today is we have a few changes. As you know, we are working on a few kinds of like AgenticFlow improvement. And second one is I was sharing a bit that we have a new model which is Nano Banana 2 available. So I think today we are only doing 2 topics on this one. So first one is talk about the AgenticFlow improvement. So let's start with a bit. So this is in this changelog. So actually you can always visit this one in order to learn about what we are introducing in every week. So if you will visit here, you will see that there is some change that we have improved comparing to last week. First one, let's talk about the bug fix and so on. So there's an issue that where an agent appear unpublished even though they had already been published. So this one is a bug that we catch. So at the moment, this has been fixed. So when the issue right now, when an agent has been published, then the version which publishes will turning blue like this one. And also, if the version that you make some change on agent side that having unpublished version, it will turn it into yellow. So this bug has been fixed. So thanks for raising this to us. Okay, so the next one is also another issue that we identify. So when we have the despite there's some trigger that are available, but the layout is not showing up on UI, it still display as no trigger added. So at the moment we also have the display as well. So we fix the issue in here, that including the item, and right now when you are creating a new trigger for your agent, it should show up here so that you can kind of identify that. Okay, so the third one that we also talk about is also about the web retrieval node. So before when you are creating the web retrieval into this one, and if you are turning on of the include Google Search in this area, then it's going to show you some of the error that showing it. So we noticed this issue and have been identified, and we fixed the issue. So right now it should work normally. So you can turn on. And the beautiful about this one is the web retrieval and web search both are a built-in node in AgenticFlow, so that you can reusing this one. And I would strongly suggest that you can using these for 2 different purposes. So web retrieval is kind of like you have a URL of a website, then we will read that URL with the context. And for example, if you have some extension in Google Search, you can also doing that as well. And for the web search, this is like the basic Google Search, so that you can actually search some query, and the result of the web search is going to be something like a list of the URL that top ranked by the search engine, could be Google or some other engine. And then you can actually pipe these together. So you do the web search first, and then you do the web retrieval later in multiple times, or you can using web retrieval but turn on the Google Search so that it do both at the same time. And in this prompt, it's not only accepting the URL, but it can also be accepting kinds of like a prompt as well. So you can kind of like talk to this node that's saying, hey, I need NVIDIA stock from this website. So the retrieval will looking for that information instead of like just only doing the parsing. So the web retrieval is doing a bit more than just a parsing of the data. So if you try and you can feel that. Actually, if you would like to read more detail on this one, I would strongly suggest that you go into our documentation, go into our node library, this one, and you will be able to see the node about the web retrieval, web scraping. If we only have the web scraping, we don't have the web retrieval. Okay, let me see if I can find it in our workflow. View in. Okay. I think we need to finding that node later. Okay. So that is the number 3 that I have with the Google search in this one. And also we have some improvement as well. So we clean up some of the nodes that have been outdated and have been there for a while. So for example, image to video and V1 to V3, this one was outdated and not working as expected. So we removed this as well. So that is some bug that we fixed. Let's talk about the improvement. So improvement, I think the most important thing that I would like to share today is the Nano Banana 2 that you can find in both edit image and generate image. So later I'm going to go through that and we'll demonstrate to you how can you use that. But basically it is available in workflow, and also because workflow can be used in agent, so you can actually take in that into agent as well. And also in agent we will have the plugin, so you can also use that. And for the agent knowledge UI, we're also making some improvement as well. In this area, so when creating a knowledge in the agent, the creation section will now display table format or text format, depends on whether you select at the beginning. So in the agent profile, when you click in table or text, we will automatically select it for you so that you can easier to create it smoother. For table and text. So table including like CSV, spreadsheet, structured data, and text format is like PDF or Word document and so on. Yeah. So that is some improvement. So let me show you on the UI so that you can have a look on this part. Allow me to share my screen on the other side. Windows, where's the other windows? I short it. It should be this screen. Let me go to Discord as well. Alright, so just recap what we just did. So on the web retrieval, when you go here and then you can turn on the web research. So it's going to using the grounding with Google search. The model will use the search capability to find relevant information online, and then using web retrieval tool to create more in-depth understanding of that page is fine. So this one is very powerful. I think if you're doing some kinds of like document understanding or retrieval, you should using this one. And not only about using this in the workflow, but you can also using this in an agent as well. So for example, this is my marketing agent. I can use that by adding a plugin. I will search for web retrieval and I just add. And this one, it will allow my agent, I would say, I can use web retrieval to give me NVIDIA stop price. See that? It takes some time. Let's click on this one to see what is the agent is asking. So it will asking why current stop price. Okay, and it's creating the real time. So actually the service, the engine is rejecting this one. So the first two is not returning the agent, but the third one, okay. So extract latest from Google Finance top quote. That's interesting. So as you can see, so this is kind of like agentic behavior, right? So the first one is that the agent will asking some question on this one, and then actually it is not something that the web retrieval can answer, because there's a LLM that powering this one. And when you are asking different action in this one, and then you give the agent with the website that is can be accessed on public, for example google.com/finance.quote NVIDIA Nasdaq, then actually it returning the actual value. And this is the actual price of today, which is 180. And this is the timestamp that we have. And it's also giving the source as well. So that is how you use the web retrieval node. And because in here, it's going to have some of the ability that the agent will automatically use on this one. So I think you can definitely take advantage of this one. Let's move on. So what is next thing that we mentioned? Okay, this is about the Nano Banana. Let's go into Nano Banana. So I creating this one is advanced. So this is in workflow, and then you can create a generate image node. And then in this one, you need to choose a PixelML connection, and then you can choose the provider in here. Before we have Nano Banana, Nano Banana Pro, and right now we have Nano Banana 2. So this model having very fantastic result. So I would going through like what is the comparison between Nano Banana 2 and Pro. But in short, the Nano Banana 2 is having higher like accuracy on the image and prompt following, with the price is kind of cheaper than the Pro. So if you are mass creating a lot of like image with Nano Banana Pro, I think this is something that you can really switch on. I will show you some of the example that I just created before today. So for example, like this one. So this one is I was asking the agent that saying high quality photography of DIY infographic that simply explain how water cycle work. So this is the result. So let me open that in a new tab so that you can also have a look. So as you can see here, that is quite nice, right? So this is like the water cycle, how it works, infographic, and this one actually can, it's quite big. So you can see full screen and there's no blurry, because actually this model is allowing us to choose up to 4K of the output of the image, where the price is like sliding in the half comparing to Nano Banana Pro before. Okay. And let's take a look on some other images. So for example, this one. What else? These two have been failed. I think this is to do to rate limit. And this one. So let's take a look on what each of these one. So this is about the short blur with a lens that with 35 mm vibrant colors, sailing ocean with baby kangaroo. Okay. So this is the output. Nice, right? The baby kangaroo is sailing the ocean, and with the so the beautiful of this one is this model is actually having very high accuracy in terms of like the lens and so on. So the 35 millimeter lens actually having good feature, which is the blurry in the background. So as you can see in here from this picture and also this picture, the blurry in the background is visible. It's similar like what you are taking with the real photo, with the real camera. And even for this one, if you are taking the focus into the head, then you don't see the kangaroo on the left hand side. So I think that is quite impressive, right? When you are just creating one shot, you have 4 images in this one, and it's really close to reality. And this is the photographic, so I just demonstrate. And this one is about the creating a pencil sketch or perfectness, and okay, so it is kind of like a pencil sketch. Pretty nice, right? So it seems like that someone is sketching this one and toward every details on this one. I think if we are printing out on this one and we showing to people, it's very hard to find out that this model is as good. Okay, let's move on. Next one is cinematic scale or vibrant dreamline. So it's kind of like a photo shoot. Normal photo shoot. Pretty nice. I think the easiest thing that you can see in here is the way that this model is handling the hand and texture and so on. So I think like just a year back, we can still looking into the hand to find what are the people, and this is the AI generated. But I think for today it's cannot imageable. Even like the whole picture, when we zoom in into the maximum, that's very hard for us to identify. So I think photography is kind of like cooked already with this kind of model. What else? This is about a cinematic suit of the landscape. I think this one is easy. Yeah, I think many models can do this already. So this one is not something that really impressed me on this. But I think this one is very impressed me. So this model actually having a very good understanding of the language that not English. So this prompt is actually how can I make an example of this one? Whoops. This one, what is the naming of this one? 32 minutes ago. It should be this one. No, not this one. Maybe this one. No, what is that? Maybe this one. Is it? What is the prompt? Let me check. What is the prompt? I think there should be something on this one. I wanted to take the prompt so that I can show you what exactly the text that have been input into this bot. So this is the prompt that we are using. So let's take a closer look on this. So an animated, and so this is having this one. So this prompt actually consists of two. It have the image and cinematic and so on in setting. It was saying, please, this is the message, okay? Please observe from distance. So this is actually the text that have been put in here. But when we are prompting this model, we can do take this concept, localize it in Indian setting, including translation on text to Hindi. So that is how this one. So before we have to take that into kinds of like two workflow, right? So we need to translate this, please observe into a translation. But right now we don't even need to do that. In the prompt, we can actually specify this one, and the output is something like this. So it's going to be using, I cannot read Hindi, of course, but from what I read from this model, it is really powerful in terms of like translating text and localization. So I think this Google is really cooking on this one. It go really under the radar, but it's really taking over on this side. And yeah, so this one is another example about like how you can use this model in kinds of like artistic area. And this one is kinds of like more on infographic, which is comparing to 3 types of cloud. Is it like fair weather or gloomy or high altitude, and so on. So I think it having a very comic vibe, I would say. So I think if you are familiar with some kinds of meme or kinds of like comic strip, or maybe some like short form comic, I think this model can really helpful. The prompt we're using, this one is like only triple-click infographic compare 3 type of cloud, and X panel show cloud type, dramatic sky, and so on. So this is just only one single prompt, and this is come up with this kind of it. All right. Anyway, so I think that's it on showcase on Nano Banana 2. So let's do next thing, which is the pricing. Pricing of Nano Banana 2 and Nano Banana Pro. Okay. Can you go down? Yeah. Okay, so this is the result. So Nano Banana 2 is generally 40% to 50% than Pro, comparing to different quality and resolution. So it was like 0.067 comparing to 135. So it's kind of 50% off. And even like going to 4K, then it's still kind of like 30% off comparing to the other. And Nano Banana 2 is designed for lower cost, high volume production, which is quite cheap for the slow model and so on. So I think right now if you are like generating image frequently using Nano Banana Pro, I would strongly suggest that you are moving to Nano Banana 2. That is really help to reducing the cost of the model. Okay. All right. So I think that that's it on Nano Banana 2. Let me go back into Discord if anyone have any question. Look like no. Okay, let me check also on YouTube as well. Seem like no. Okay, so let's move on. I think apart from that, we also making some change as well. So we fix some bug on the UI, and we also having some of the examples. So for example, like if you having a workflow or something example here, actually you can public sync, and then you can copy this app marketplace item and also make it in your portfolio. We also noticed that there's some bug that Anton, thanks for raising about this panel. I have already you receive the support from Rick on this one, and we have an internal ticket that we will fix this one, and we also will make this URL that publicly accessible and also Google indexable as well, so that you can actually technically to build a portfolio profile using this URL. And because we also making some kinds of like our replace of the workflow and so on this one, so I think this is a very good use case for you. You can show up your workflow, your agent, and so on. So I hope that it's going to support your business. So I think that's it for that's all I would like to share today. Let me see what else that we have in our changelog. In fixes, improve, edit. I think that's pretty much it. So mostly that we still focus on stabilization and fixing some core in the engine, but actually those are not kinds of like visible that I can screenshot and show you. But if you are trying to use the system, then you will notice that there's some improvement in terms of like stability and so on. But we still continue to improve, because this month is still focusing on the enhancement and the stability of the platform as a whole. All right. Yeah. So I think if you have any question, you can drop me in the message in the Discord now, or just drop us a message later. We have no question today. I think today is kind of like a new daytime zone have been changing. So I think some of the vote that may not reflect to the time zone yet, but we change the time. So we will stick to 9 AM PST every Tuesday, before. Thanks, Maxwell. You won way. Yeah, thanks a lot. And okay, we also have Biju and also Anton. I think for Biju side, I think you should be checkers. So I think compared to last week, so we do not release new version on the CLI and also SDK. We are welcoming any feedback if you use that. If you have something that you would like to enhance, or something that we can do on the CLI or SDK, just let us know. Okay. There is some question. How to connect Composio to AgenticFlow? So actually, that is quite straightforward actually. So when you go into MCP connection,
a lot of questions of everyone about what.
Let me go to Composio. Actually, Composio was I have a long time that I didn't using Composio. So I think we can using MCP, and I can copy this. Let me just go in Google Drive. I think before it was using like mcp.composio.dev. It had been changed quite a while comparing to previously. I think previously that we are having is we can copy an MCP server URL, which is this one. No, it's not this one. This is going to, this one. So before, I think you will go into mcp.composio.dev and you compare and you connect it, and then you can view server that you already have. Then you see that it's going to be what are kinds of like you can copy. Okay, so make sure that you are using this one. So HTTP Streamable, copy this one, and then you go into AgenticFlow, and then you can go into MCP server. And actually, you can go directly to any agent, and then you go into MCP. You click Add MCP. And you can just select anything, and then you can choose MCP or Composio. You choose Streamable HTTP, and then if you paste here the URL that you have, and you have Composio MCP server. I think that's it. Yeah. So I think that should be it. And you add this MCP server in here, and you can see. So I load all of the tool that I just create on this one, and Composio is actually quite a lot of tool. It adds everything, and you can actually untick some of this one, so that it reducing the tool overload of the agent that it needed, and then hit edit, and then you can just chat with that and like per normal. So the step is you go into mcp.composio.dev dashboard, you connect your Google account into MCP, and you copy the URL. You choosing the correct format, either it is HTTP streamable or SSE. You need to choose that correctly in AgenticFlow and so on. Okay. So next question is that Google Cloud Storage using MCP or Python, but it need a path plan to connect. For Google Cloud Storage, actually, I will not using the MCP because I think connect via MCP with PyDream is not something that usable for something like Google Cloud, I think, because Google Cloud, actually, they are very well documented in API. So I would rather than connect directly to the Google API directly, or using some kinds of like API call, which is more controllable. For PyDream, I will use that for some less know connection that not worth my time to do the integration or not having any documentation on that. Yeah. So next question about Omra is how to achieve similar character with Nano Banana 2 file image but have character image consistency between file image. Any advice? Actually, I do not know. I'm not quite a professional in the image generation, but I think what it could work is that instead of using only text to generate text character, I would suggest that pass some of the, you can using edit image, and then you can using this edit image, you choose Nano Banana 2, and then you passing the URL of the image here. So what I'm going to do is, normally if I going to do it like you, I'm going to choosing image to URL. I can choose another one. I choose another image to URL. So for example, I have 3 URL, right? I will use that. I will tell this is the prompt. This is going to be image URL 1, email 2. I will save. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this image in here. I just slash space, and for this one, it's going to slash paste. So this means it's similar like how you work with like the Gemini app. You drag 2 picture as reference. So this one is the same. So you are telling you, please create a new referring to the attached image. So depends on what are the attached image that you are attaching in the request. Normally, Nano Banana will reflect that character. So do not try to using the character consistency only by prompt, but please send the reference image to it as a URL. So it means like, for example, I would like to have like characters image. I see. So these 2. Then I will reference it to that. Yeah. Character image and background image. So always that sending these 2 together with the prompt, then actually it's going to really help the AI model that when using Nano Banana in order to know what you are looking for. And yeah, for aspect ratio, I think this is something also very basic. You need to wait. Why is that? Because I need to select a connection first. Sorry, I need to select connection. So I think that's pretty much it. So my tips for you is send this image together in the request. Yeah. Like what Anton said. Yeah. So you send image to live an agent to identify each image so that can generate something similar, like reverse engineering. Here, try to use very good model. Yeah. I think that is good. So you can combine the Anton method for true fast. So you can send an image to Gemini 3.1 and let it describe, and then like you can use for example, I'm going to using AM. So I'm going to push in this one, and I'm going to tag the models that I'm choosing. I need to select connection first. I'm going to choose a lot of model 3.1 Pro. So I'm going to tag the image, for example, character image, and I'm going to I think what we need to do now is we need to allow you to upload the image. I don't know if it works. Please describe. I think there should be another way to attach an image to an LLM call. But anyway, so you can using this kinds of like describe, and you can pack it as an input to here from that input. So you can do some kinds of like pre-processing in order to describe the character image by text and reusing that in here. And also you can send the image to the model as well, because it is having some visual understanding is better than just describing the image by text. All right. So is there any way you can integrate Google Cloud Storage, because I send an image, it is only sending the file from GS to Gemini? Is something that your team can do to help me? I think you need to have some kinds of tool in order to upload the file from your local computer into the GCS, and also generating a signed URL to do that. So either you will trigger that job from your local computer. You can download Ishi or any other like coding tool in order to writing you a very small program that going to do that, upload a file from your computer to GCS, and also generate a signed URL. And then because you have that signed URL already, then you can actually using that in order to trigger a workflow on AgenticFlow. So for example, like you can create an user input, and you will say like it's just a text, and this is kind of like URL GCS, for example, like this one. So it means you are going to trigger this workflow with a GCS signed URL, and then AgenticFlow will be able to download the file from that sources, as long as you can make it accessible either via making the bucket public or generating a signed URL on this. But I don't think that AgenticFlow can do anything to direct integration to GCS, because that's not how we work as a platform. Any other question? Let me check on YouTube as well. Any question? There's a question. Can you recommend okay, I think this is Umbra. Okay. So there's a question. Can we use credit to generate image? Yeah, of course. So in AgenticFlow, you can have image generation capability by click on built-in, and also you search for image. And we have this one, generate image powered by AgenticFlow, and can generate quite good image as well. So let me show you. Let me delete this one and delete this one. And you can select aspect ratio, for example, the 9:16, and save. I will use the prompt. Let me see which prompt that I should use. For example, like what is it? Maybe just using this prompt and see what is inside. Wow, it's quite challenging to guess the prompt out of this one. But anyway, so for example, like I'm going to using the kangaroo prompt for our image generation. Let's see. Let's wait for a second. Yeah, it's success. You can see. So it is not as great, but it's not bad, right? You have the baby kangaroo that on the board, so we're doing the blurry on the background. It's not as bad. And I think this model is very good for like frequent use case. You need some picture and so on, and this is built in AgenticFlow so that you can use your credit. Yeah, I can try another prompt as well. For example, like this one. Let's see. This one? No, this one. Yeah, quite challenging. Create a sketch. Let's do another one. Yep, also success. Yep, also a pencil sketch of the pufferfishness. Yes, correct. So it is only this one. So you can read on this workflow. We are using the Z-image tool because this is open source, so that we can actually host the model on this one. Nano Banana and so on is not something that we can host. We have to pay Google on your behalf on this one. All right, good. So I think if there's no other question, I will close up today. So thanks everyone for your time, and I hope you see you next week. Thanks everyone. Have a good day. Bye bye.